So for other business owners out listening to Cathy and I chatting about this, even though somebody's telling you that you don't have the ability or the resources to get something done, you might sit back and be able to re-swizzle that thing and figure out the way you want it. Nobody needs to put you in the corner. Nobody needs to make you feel small.
Welcome to the Richer Retailer Podcast. And listen, y'all, you know how running a business is one of the most exciting, most challenging, and loneliest jobs in the whole gosh darn world, because everyone thinks and assumes you have it all figured out. And then, of course, we sit here in our little ivory towers and look around and say, oh my gosh, that person must have it totally figured out. And that I must be the only person. And so your team assumes that you've got everything going, like you can't really talk to them about stuff. But the reality is that you're carrying all of these questions and all of these doubts. I know it can't be Angie and I that have all these doubts and all these decisions, right? And I cannot express to you how powerful this conversation is. It was one of the most powerful and energizing conversations I've had in a very long time. So a woman in the prayer group that I'm a part of mentioned that she was struggling in her business. And, you know, I'm like you, I want to help people. And so we didn't know each other well at all, but I just reached out and said, hey, if you want to talk, I'm happy to listen. And so we decided to meet for dinner. And I started to vent about something. And then I said, oh my gosh, no, wait. Angie, you go first. And so then the first thing that she said to me is, can I vent? I am so excited to introduce you guys to Angie Noll, because she is a badass kick butt business owner that I'm so glad that you are getting an opportunity to meet. Angie, thank you so much for being here.
Isn't this fabulous? I'm so excited. We're doing this very spur of the moment, so you get
very spur of the moment
of the sparks of energy.
Exactly. She just got my little list of questions. Oh, that's right, about 5 minutes ago. So yeah. She still agreed to come on. Exactly. She woke up this beautiful, let me tell you. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you see how beautiful she is. She just woke up this way. She didn't even have to do anything. You know, I've been getting ready since 9 o'clock this morning, and I'm teasing. Angie, please tell them about your business, about Reconciled Solutions, and what you do and who you serve, please.
Yeah, Reconciled Solutions is my business. It's my baby, one of my 4 babies. I have 3 child babies and my business. And it started about 20 years ago. And we are in business, not dissimilar to Cathy. We're in business helping people find peace and sustainability and profitability in their small businesses. We just work in different verticals. We work with a lot of professional services firms, and we're also teaching profit first. I like to say we drink the Mike Michalowicz Kool-Aid because we are profit first professionals. I'm a pumpkin planner, certified pumpkin planner. I'm a certified fix this nexter. So I really do a lot of those kind of small business, real tactical processes to help people find sustainability in their business and profitability.
It's the most important thing. I just did an email about the importance of squeezing from the end of a tube of toothpaste instead of the middle, and the impact that it has on your business.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and I just had to say, because I kind of forgot it, but the mainstay of our business is the bookkeeping side of it. So it's bookkeeping and accounting. It's taking that accounting language and putting it into everyday stories that tell what your business is trying to do, that really give that financial narrative and give you the inner confidence to be able to go out and ask for what you want.
And I could tell how good you are at that by how good you were at venting. And if you can't see me, I am like doing air quotes. It happens to all of us. Like, it's not that you don't love your business, you do, but it's like sometimes you just have to let off steam about it. But you did such a wonderful job of telling a story about the situation that you were in and what was happening, and then how it emotionally impacted you. So I could see how you would also do that so well when someone's just looking at a P&L of numbers that scares the bejesus out of them. You know, I'm positive I could see how you do that very well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's where my heart is. I enjoy those conversations with the clients.
Yeah, awesome. So we sat down, and like I said, I started to talk first, and then I said, oh, no, yes, you vent first. And what was so amazing was that as she shared her story and her frustration about things, Angie was exactly in the same space, it felt like anyway to me, where I was 6 years ago. And like all this pressure and all this uncertainty and feeling like you'd been doing this so long, it's like, how can I still be making mistakes? I mean, you just have this such a strong feeling of trying to figure it out while other people already assume you have. Angie, let's start with the moment when you sat down for dinner and you asked, can I vent? Like, what was going on, not specifically, but just generally, that made you feel like you needed a conversation? Because my goal for all of this is for everyone listening, for you listening, to recognize that you're not the only one and what you can take for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want our conversation to give listeners permission to admit that they struggle too.
Yeah, I do struggle. And I was really excited to have dinner with you. This is the first prayer group that I've ever joined. And I joined this prayer group with Cathy because we're all profit first professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all women. So those are some very big points of camaraderie. And I've had this craving for this type of relationship. So I want to hang. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful friends, but they're not business owners necessarily. And it's a different type of person, to be honest. That's a business person. We are just so driven. And women, especially, I need that women camaraderie because we're not only driven in our businesses, but we're driven to be the best mom, to be the best daughter, to be the best spouse to our husbands, and all these different relationships we play. And, just like in the Barbie movie, we're juggling all these things and we feel like we can't necessarily do them all very well. So for me, getting to sit down with Cathy and have dinner was this opportunity, because what I have seen is I've gotten to a certain place in my business where I do know what's going on. We've been in business for a number of years. We've got some really great things going on. We've got great momentum, but there's other things that we struggle with. And where I struggle personally is just, who do I vent about to this? So I have my kids, they're wonderful. I have my husband, he's wonderful. I have friends who work for other people, but they don't necessarily lead teams and lead people. And I needed to vent with somebody who sits in all those roles. I need that closeness with somebody that has all those responsibilities.
And you bring up such a great point, because what made our conversation so powerful, I believe, is that it wasn't like you were asking questions like, oh, so I don't know how to hire somebody, or I don't always, which is a great valid question. I don't want you to think that that's not a good one. But they were questions about how, listen, I've gotten to this point in my business. I've achieved so much, but I have this goal that I want. I want to go past this milestone. I want to scale. I want to grow. And that's a different conversation than the conversation you have when you're starting a business. And it's just easy to get stuck. And yeah, you get lonely because you do have wonderful friends and there's all these other connections you have, but it's just being able to talk to somebody who really can understand business. What shifted for you by saying some of the things out loud to someone who understood business? Like when you were talking about team and talking about trying to reach this next level, what shifted for you when you said that out loud?
Well, because then you can be really, frankly, honest. Like when you go to a networking event, we're still putting on our best face, and we're hoping that maybe somebody in that room is going to want to do business with us. But when you're in a situation where it's just kind of one sister to the next sister, you can take off your makeup and throw the bra away and let a few things out more than you have in the past. And as a business owner myself who's reached a certain stage, I always think of business on this continuum of a level 1 business being an absolute startup, and they have to learn how to do all the things themselves, and maybe they start to hire a subcontractor or two. And a level 10 business owner has, in my opinion, maybe 100 employees, and they're trying to pick not just a 401k plan, but they're trying to pick the best 401k plan, and they're trying to pick the best benefits provider and things of this nature. So I'm somewhere in the middle of this continuum of level 1 business to level 10 business. And there's not very many women in this category.
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
although all of the new businesses starting in the United States, the facts are that 50% of them are started by women. So, that's a very big amount of businesses that are run by women. But women owned businesses are small, 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 small. Less than 2% of them are more than $1 million in annual revenue.
Mhm.
So I did the math on it. There's something like about 40 million women business owners in the United States. And calculating that down, there's only about 450,000 women business owners who are over $1 million in annual revenue. So my friend circle got pretty small pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because at each level and each stage of business, you don't have as many people to talk about the problems that
Mm-mm.
you're facing.
Mm-mm.
And we all
Mm-mm.
have problems that we're facing. They might be, how do I hire someone? Or who's my first hire? But they might be, which of these 401ks is going to make longevity of my employee? Something very complicated. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
it takes a lot of thought to find the person that you can really dig in and chat with.
Right. Yeah, that's what I felt too about our conversation was that it just hits another level when it's not a purely networking one, like you said, and also where you, like you said, I love when you said take off your makeup and throw away the bra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So powerful. I realized I'd never actually asked you at the time. And, was it helpful when I shared that I had been in a similar situation a few years ago? Did that change how you saw your position at all, your situation?
Oh, well, I mean, the fact that you knew exactly where I was and
Mm-hmm.
you had advice to give me was just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you said, it gave me hope that, okay, I can figure this out. This is just another stair step. This is just another
Mm-hmm.
circle of business and figuring out what the next places. So it's unbelievable when you find all this commonality sitting down with someone that you've never really chatted with before.
No. Oh my gosh. Tell them about our husbands and where we both were. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
so it turned out that my first date with my cute husband of 28 years was at Poor Phil's in Oak Park, Illinois. And Cathy happened to meet a cute boy at Poor Phil's in Oak Park. How many years ago for you,
Oh,
Cathy?
like 32, I think now. Yeah.
Yeah, and those cute boys are still in our lives. So,
Yes. Yeah.
Poor Phil's, ladies, if you're single and you're looking to not be single, maybe that's the place to go.
That would be the place to go. It's a lovely bar. I was actually just there a couple weeks ago, and it's still equally as lovely. I'm so grateful that you said that because about how talking to somebody that was like a little bit ahead of you. I wasn't asking you that at all from any sort of ego standpoint. It's to encourage you listening that to find somebody. Like I don't care if you're
Yeah.
not a million now. You can be at 250,000, 300,000, and still have that mindset of where it is you want to go. And it's just that there aren't a lot of people out there that are like that. And I can't tell you how fabulous it was to be able to talk to Angie about all this stuff that really interests me, like what to do to how to better serve clients and all this stuff. It was really incredible. I want y'all to appreciate how that the power of just saying yes and meeting with another person, and how I learned so much from Angie and her perspective of how she was handling some issues with overseas team. And then also in terms of client delivery, there were a couple of ideas that I got from her about that too. And the point is that we've started this relationship that, gosh, in this day and age, I'll be honest with you, Angie, like we had made that date and for half a second I was like, oh, I shouldn't have made this date. I'd rather just stay home. Like, you
Mm,
know?
absolutely, right? Don't we all do that? Because we are women business owners. We're wearing all these hats, we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
do all these
Mm-hmm.
things. And I feel like, there's that TED talk about the woman's brain and the man's brain and how all these neurons are just, flying around. And so we're all doing that. We're all like, gosh, shouldn't I just be watching a Bridgerton episode and not going out of the house? And yet we do. And then we
Mhm.
find such sisterhood that
Mhm.
we're both just gasping about it.
It's incredible. Look at how this woman, who I did not really know very well at all, and how I called her up and said, we have to share this with people. I mentioned it offhandedly when we were leaving our dinner, but all of a sudden I was like, this week, I was like, no, you know what? We have to do this because honestly, what I think about from my perspective, and because, I get so excited about this, y'all, because you know that when you say things to other people, how often you are saying them to yourself. And so, Angie, I want to read to them a couple of texts that we said the next day. So then there was a follow up to one of the things she had vented about and everything. And I have one thought: nobody is putting Angie in a corner. Nobody can disrespect you. I think this purpose was to open your eyes and to show you who you don't want help from. I said to her, you are fierce and strong and to be shown respect. Do you have a bit of a pride issue? We all do. Not what I meant by that was not that I saw her have a pride issue. What I saw, though, is that sometimes we as women will defer and not demand to be shown the respect that we deserve. So I want to make sure that you see that, because I wasn't saying that she was a prideful person standing up there all big in herself. It was that we all suffer from imposter syndrome. We all suffer from thinking that, well, I don't know, maybe this is fine. And no, it was not fine how she was being treated. And I said, I'm so proud of her. And honestly, I sent a bunch more texts, if you could see here on
Lots of blue.
got so many texts from me that day. I was so fired up. But the beauty of it, Angie, is that everything that I said to you, as I'm typing it out, I'm hearing myself say it to another powerful woman. And it's what I needed to hear too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you need to hear too. So I needed to hear that I wasn't, nobody puts Angie in the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner from Dirty Dancing, right? And I needed to hear from somebody else that's been there that I wasn't crazy with what was going on. That, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I am smart. I am going to be figuring out the resources and the skills that I need to make it go forward. So, for other business owners out listening to Cathy and I chatting about this, even though somebody's telling you that you don't have the ability or the resources to get something done, you might sit back and be able to re-swizzle that thing and figure out the way you want it. Nobody needs to put you in the corner. Nobody needs to make you feel small.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And not in their tone of voice, not in the way they speak to you, not into anything they say. So, Angie, what would you tell a business owner who's listening right now, who's sitting with something heavy in their business, heavy in their heart, and they haven't told anybody about it yet?
Yeah. So, Cathy, I think what I'd tell them is to start talking, to find that
Mm-hmm.
person that they can open up to. And it often is another business owner because they have walked a mile in your shoes. So
Mm-hmm.
finding that mentorship of somebody that is one step ahead of you, two steps ahead of you, four steps ahead of you, whatever, but has kind of walked that path, it's just so very powerful because we doubt ourselves and we start thinking if somebody says something and makes you start digging into that self-doubt, digging into that negative nilly on your shoulder that you're not doing things well, you think, we go to maybe we should give up. But
Yep.
chances are we just need to rethink the resources we have. We just need to rethink the abilities we have. You are not going to be good at everything you do. That's why we bring other people into it, because they have other skills that we don't.
Right.
And that's where the power is. The power
Yeah.
is in building the family.
And it can be hard to share personal things, especially it can be hard to admit to someone that you don't know, because we truly didn't. When I say that we're in this prayer group, I don't mean that we meet people. It's a text prayer group. So it's not as if we're meeting in person. We had met in person, I think 4 years ago at one of the Profit First events and said, oh yeah, let's get together. We're both in Chicago. I'm so grateful that you were vulnerable enough, Angie, to say in the group that, that you were just really struggling, because everybody wants to help. I really do believe that about people, but
Yeah.
sometimes they don't know how to. And so that's why I'm saying to you who's listening right now, if you feel that way about it, right, it is absolutely a little scary to be vulnerable, but it's the only way you're going to make it to where it is you want to go. True leaders have to be vulnerable,
They
have to
have
be,
to.
yeah, have to be.
Humility. If your business is going to succeed, there has to be a
Mhm.
lot of humility in it
Mhm.
because you're going to come across a lot of hard lessons. And I have one lesson in humility that I want to share with retail owners out there. Because retailers, they're working with their same crew every day. So you spend a lot of time with the people that are employed by you.
Mhm.
And that can be absolutely wonderful. But I just want to caution you that you are still their boss. And so my thought is just when you're looking for somebody to be vulnerable with, I would look to somebody who has had to do the leadership role that you're having to do versus sharing like Cathy and I talk about profitability all day, and we know what it's like to not have a dollar in the bank. That's not a
Mhm.
good thing to tell your employee.
No.
They're not going to want to hear
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
it.
mm-mm. No. And you do get close to those people and it's tempting, but this is about being vulnerable to the right. That was such a powerful point, Angie. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
And
because they're
I,
going to be, who you spend your days with. And
mhm,
they're likely to be lovely, lovely people that you're close to.
right. Yeah, but you have to choose that person so carefully. You were sitting there with something heavy on your heart. I would really encourage you to look around for someone that you've admired and to think about how you would behave. How would you respond if someone asked for help? Like, I can see how easy it would be. Like, if you knew someone in your community that, like Angie said, is a few steps ahead of you, it would be easy to think, oh, they're too busy. They don't have time. But truly, people do want to help if you give them the opportunity. And so just ask. That's all you have to do. Just ask. Take the chance. Because business and retail, for sure, it's numbers, it's strategy, it's inventory, it's hiring, it's firing, it's marketing, it's all of this. But it's also so human, as Angie was sharing before. We are all incredible problem solvers, but we are not meant to solve it alone. We're really not. And so that's why I really want you to walk away from this conversation and realize that perhaps the most powerful thing you can do for your business to get you to that $1 million mark is not another spreadsheet, is not another goal, is not another Facebook ad, is not another reel, but it's all about sitting across the table from someone, enjoying some lovely fish and some champagne, someone who
Mm-hmm.
understands the journey. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who can listen and share their story and remind you that what you're building is really something very meaningful. So if you're carrying something heavy that you know you should be talking to somebody about, take this as your nudge. This is Angie and I pushing you to reach out, ask somebody to go to coffee, offer to listen. It's easier to do than you think. And you might be surprised how much a single conversation can change things.
All right, I'm the immediate past president for NAWBO. That's the National Association of Women Business Owners. And we have a Chicago chapter. There's about 50 chapters across the country. Chicago is one of the largest chapters in the country. And we are a sisterhood. We have NAWBO Sisterhood, and we celebrate each other's wins. We share openly about our struggles. We stand in solidarity with each other. We advocate for small business rights on Capitol Hill. And it's just a really wonderful organization. We also have mastermind groups within NAWBO that are included in your membership. And that's really, it's your board of directors for your small business. So I just want to put a plug out for NAWBO to consider joining that or even just checking us out. We have a big conference coming up, a full day conference in Oak Brook, Illinois at April 29th is the day. And I'll put a link up to it for you guys to take a look if you're interested in joining us.
Yeah, we'll put all this information in the show notes so you guys can get more information about it. Because, yeah, it is valuable. There is just something about being with women, for sure. Nothing against what men have to offer, but it just is a lovely other perspective. That is really powerful. Well, gosh, to think that you were president of it, I mean, you've accomplished so many is, Angie, in your life. We always end the episode by asking what your Millie moment is. You know, that moment when it's what we call our millionaire retailers. And it's when you've accomplished something in your business that felt extraordinary, something that made you pause and be really proud of what you've achieved. What was that for you, and how did it impact your journey?
Yeah, I think probably the thing that hit home the hardest is when COVID hit and the CARES Act came out and all this money was available to small business owners.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was in a rush to get their hands on that money because our businesses were shuttered, right? At that time, we really dove in and we really supported our clients. And so our clients were the first in line with the paperwork to get the money from the relief. And I'm just so proud of, at that time, had about 50, 60 solid clients, and not a one of our clients went out of business because of having to shutter in place. We were able to secure the money that they needed and help them re-swizzle and reshift to get through the pandemic and come out on the other side of it still with a business intact. And that was like, I still can't believe it that we didn't have anybody go under. That's something I'm super proud of.
That is an incredible achievement, to be sure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, one more quick thing before we wrap up. If you've enjoyed our podcast but haven't followed us yet, haven't hit that follow button, take 2 seconds to do it right now, would you please? And then you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. We're Retail Mavens everywhere we are. And when you put followed on Facebook or Instagram, then you're going to be entered to win. We're giving away our clearance sale secrets guide, which is a $500 product that we sell all day long on our website. It's really one of our signature products. And this is the exact same strategy that our clients use to move and clear out more inventory than you can believe while putting more cash in your pocket. And it doesn't hurt your brand. It doesn't, in a way that people aren't going to be waiting for you to always go on sale. It's a money-making clearance strategy that you will use at least twice a year forever. Can't wait to see and announce who wins. Gosh, Angie, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. It was really fabulous. I can't wait for our next fish and champagne date.
Me too. Alrighty, everybody. Listen, know that you are astonishingly fabulous and you are loved. Have a great day. Bye-bye.